To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. Jesus said in Mark 1 verse 15, the time is fulfilled, and the kingdom of God is at hand. Furthermore, Ephesians 5 verse 16 says, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. And finally, and that knowing the time, that it is now high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Romans 13 verse 11. We are living in the time of the end. The fast fulfilling signs of the times declare that the coming of Christ is near at hand. The days in which we live are solemn and important. The Spirit of God is gradually but surely being withdrawn from the earth. Plagues and judgments are already falling upon the despisers of the grace of God. The calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of society, the alarms of war are portentous. They forecast approaching events of the greatest magnitude. The agencies of evil are combining their forces and consolidating. They are strengthening for the last great crisis. Great changes are soon to take place in our world, and the final movements will be rapid ones.
Almost looks apocalyptic. Fruit bats in their hundreds of thousands, blanketing the evening sky.
This is what locals here have to put up with every day. There's hundreds of thousands of bats flying around.
Gardens are overrun with bats. Every inch of every branch is covered with them. Mayor Raymond J.O. says they've now reached biblical plague proportions.
It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. It's truly disgusting.
Some of the trees are so full of bats, they're constantly breaking from the sheer
They
weight.
eat and destroy everything on their way. One swarm measured 60 kilometers long and 40 kilometers wide. Hundreds of thousands of acres of crops destroyed. The swarms came from Yemen, then down from the Red Sea to the Horn of Africa. The unusual warm temperatures off the coast are partly to blame.
Headlines are worrying.
Experts are warning it's likely to become a pandemic.
The number of people infected with coronavirus surged by more than 3,000 overnight.
As of early February, more than 20,000 people worldwide were infected with a new strain of 1 month after it was first discovered in Wuhan, China. The World Health Organization officially declared the outbreak a public health emergency.
This could mutate in a way that changes the way it behaves. If it mutates in some other way, it might become more contagious.
Exciting new technology that could transform law enforcement, or a dangerous tool that opens the door to racial bias and mass surveillance.
Facial recognition technology is being used around the world, whether we like it or not. Powered by artificial intelligence, 64 countries are actively using it. China is now exporting the technology around the world, from Uganda to Zimbabwe to Serbia, a decision which sparked national protests.
Say the move is a stain on the new government's human rights record. Never before have members of the public been treated like walking ID cards subjected to an ongoing police lineup, that our identities have to be biometrically checked to make sure we're not criminals. That's a complete inversion of the traditional presumption of innocence that is so at the heart of British civil liberties. And that's why I think this is none less than an assault.
Evangelist Franklin Graham under fire for what LGBTQ groups are calling hate speech.
In their words, homophobic and publicly promotes those beliefs. Various groups got together to pen a letter to those running the venues hosting Graham on his tour, calling for the stops to be canceled. So far, Liverpool's mayor confirms Graham is now banned from M&S Arena there. And the BBC is reporting the Glasgow and Sheffield events are also canceled.
Pictures were posted of Billy on set of season 51 of the long-running children's series wearing a velvet gown. The same incredible velvet Christian Siriano gown he wore to the 2019 Oscars. A Republican state senator from Arkansas, whose name shall not be named, said in a Facebook post, "Do you approve of your taxpayer dollars being used to promote radical LGBTQ agenda?" He had the best response, telling Page Six, "If you don't like it, don't watch it."
Be able to buy groceries with the scan of a part of our body. Tell me more, please.
Yes. So here's the deal. Amazon is reportedly testing body scan payment technology. This kind of creeps me out a little bit. According to the New York Post, the e-commerce giant is trying out the system called Orville, which uses biometric technology. The way it works, as it stands, is Amazon Prime users would scan their hand to ring up a purchase instead of a card. The goal is to roll it out at Whole Foods by the beginning of next year.
Is Amazon looking to turn your hand into a credit card? So they would link, yeah, your unique palm print would allow the machine to know exactly who you are, and it would connect to your payment service, your credit card service. So Amazon has patented now, they filed a patent for a biometric scanner at the checkout, whereby you just wave your palm and you will pay for your purchase.
Canadian government is backpedaling after suggesting that all media outlets will need to register with the government in order to operate in Canada. Now, a report that was released last week called for that country's Broadcast Act to be redefined, giving the feds far-reaching control of everything from TV and radio to the internet. Concerned that the government wants to gain more control over what people see and hear in the country. Man, what could go wrong with that one?
A sheriff's office sent out a warning about a drug they say can kill you just by touching it. It's called Gray Death. It's a combination of heroin and fentanyl, and it looks like chunks of concrete. The St. Mary Parish office told CBS affiliate KLFY that it's 10,000 times more potent than morphine.
You would really hate to see somebody innocent, touch this, not knowing what it is.
Well, here's what's interesting. Tonight, for the very first time, it appears that type of unrest, that type of demonstration has come to America.
Turnstiles by the hundreds, chained open emergency doors, destroyed ticket readers, and flooded the streets.
There's a long night ahead for parts of the South. The strong storm pushing through is bringing tornado warnings. In Martinville, Mississippi, a possible tornado knocked down pine trees and power lines and blocked this highway.
That is hail, big hail.
These are pictures just now coming in from New Orleans. The hail and high winds are forcing them to take cover in the lobby of this building. A blast of wind broke through the revolving doors.
Evacuating from buildings in Miami as a massive 7.7 magnitude earthquake in the Caribbean rattles parts of the city, more than 400 miles away off the coast of Jamaica and Cuba. School children hiding under desks in Jamaica, 77 miles from the epicenter. Others evacuated in Kingston.
Big earthquake going on. Look at this.
In nearby Cayman Islands, the pool water seen rattling 2 weeks after a series of devastating earthquakes in Puerto Rico, which sits along the same tectonic plates.